Hi everyone, welcome back to River and Rune. Thank you guys for joining me on the channel. I'm very excited to get into this week's rune reading. So, we're still in the month of Hawthorne, so we're still in this energy according to the Celtic calendar of connecting to the heart chakra, of allowing ourselves to dive deeper into our relationships, into our connections with others, especially with a lot of the eclipse energy that's happening, Mercury retrograde that is also happening. There's a lot of energy that's pointing inward. So I wouldn't be surprised if many of us have been working through a lot of inner child work, if we've been looking at our relationships, if we've been restructuring our connection to ourselves and to others around us, looking at the things in our home, thinking about how we can change things, make them feel more representative of ourselves, of who we are as people. So powerful stuff. I'm very excited to see what the runes have in store for this week ahead, especially considering that next week on Thursday we have the energy of the total solar eclipse happening. Now it'll only be viewed by people in the northern hemisphere, so people in New York will be able to see the partial. We'll be able to see it partially if I'm not mistaken, but that energy again, it's very powerful. A lot of releasing and a lot of letting go. Right? Eclipses are for letting go. So, let's see what the runes have in store for this week ahead. I'm excited. And I know I'm also excited because I also started my podcast, which is out on Spotify. So you can find that at Freya's Gold. And it's under my name, so I should say Gabriel Miranda underneath it. And I'm very excited to invite all of you guys into that storytelling space with me, because I was very much inspired by the story of Freya and her golden tears, and the concept that, of course, grief and the things that we have gone through and the things that we experience can offer a lot in terms of a different kind of wealth, a wealth of wisdom, a wealth of compassion, a wealth of self-knowledge. So do check that out if you feel called. It's on Spotify. There'll be new episodes coming out every Friday. So let's get to it. Cool. Interesting. Okay, so what I had this very interesting image. There was a woman and she was walking next to a lake, and she was passing her hand over these lilies, which is very beautiful. So lilies represent peace. They represent a message. They're also very much connected with the Archangel Gabriel. So for those of you who do pray to that Archangel or find that archetype very prevalent or involved in your life, that may be a sign for you guys. But this energy of the trumpet, a message coming through, but a message of peace, because it felt very peaceful. I also saw a full moon. So the fullness, the culmination of something. Many of you may be finishing a project this week, or perhaps finishing a manifestation work that you've been working on, or you may see some you may see some fruits of your labors coming this week ahead, which I'm very excited about. So for those of you who are new to the channel, we start in the center and we ripple outwards, similar to how a drop would fall in a lake, right? And see that ripple over the placid surface of the water. So I find this very interesting because we're starting out with Kenos in Merkstav. So for me this would be for me this would be upright, and then for you guys it came out like this in Merkstav, but I know it may look reverse in the camera. So that may in itself be a part of the message, right? Because Kenos represents the fire. It's one of the 3 fire runes in the set, right? And so the idea is this torch that we carry forward into the night of our soul, this torch of inspiration, of illumination, of creativity, of this desire to move forward, of to create, right? And it looks reversed to me, looks upright for you guys through the camera. And then if I were to flip it, so there is this energy, again, as we're in this Gemini season, we're in this energy of reflection. There is something about our creative endeavors this week that are going to bring out a lot of the underbelly of our psychological processes. So I wouldn't be surprised if today into the next few days, you may be going to a class or doing a dance class or doing something that you always wanted to do, or you decided to sit down and work on your creative project, or perhaps you're working on a work project. And in that process, something comes up for you. There is this, as you carry the torch into the darkness, there is this bright light that shows around you and illuminates the space around you. And of course, I could imagine that there is this energy of seeing something differently. So keep an eye out for your creative practices, and keep an eye out at your job, or keep an eye out at whatever it is that you do. Like if you are a school teacher or whatever it may be, you may run into one of your students who will give you a different perspective, or you may find yourself in a situation there, something will come up and you're like, ooh, that's connected to something deeper, or that is tapping into a part of my psychology, a part of my inner child, a part of the reflective nature of the reflective reciprocity of the universe around us, right? But whatever this thing that comes up, whatever this deep understanding or knowing or an awakening to a memory that you may have forgotten, whatever it is that does come up over the weekend, as you process it, it's going to bring a lot of security, a lot of stability. You're going to feel much better. You're going to feel much better. And it feels powerful because I feel it connecting to the vision that I had as I was casting the runes of the woman passing her hand over the lily representing the message. Archangel Gabriel being connected to the lily, to the idea of messages coming from the other side, messages coming from your ancestors, messages coming from your spirit guides or your angels, or messages coming from your inner heart, whatever it may be. But these messages coming through in a time of peace to bring a culmination, an end to an old process, an end to an old belief system, an end to an old way of life. Because the full moon is the culmination of something, right? After the full moon, the light fades from the moon and you start easing away, letting go of the things that no longer serve, of that process that you have just manifested. You start to leave it to the universe, you let it go. So over the weekend, I can see a lot more stability, a lot more groundedness for us, right? And then, as we go into the next couple of days, so I'll say like Sunday into Monday, edging into Tuesday, we also have Yera. So I love Yera. For those of you who do know, I do love Yera. Yera represents the cycles of seasons, the reciprocity of the universe. It represents the Ouroboros, the constant consuming of oneself, the never-ending cycle of reality, right? And this, oof, I see. Close the right eye. See through your feminine lens. Allow yourself to see through your intuition, to receive these messages, to rest into the things that you are learning this week, and allow for these cycles to close, allow for new seasons to come about, because Yera is all about cycles and seasons, right? And seeing that I'm feeling Yera's influence more on end of Sunday, Monday, early Tuesday, heading up to the energy of the eclipse. There is a big cycle closing. And depending on how you want to handle this, right? How you're going to allow this season to close, allow this winter to pass, or allow this spring to pass so that we can enter into the summer months we can enter into something beautiful. Perhaps this past month or these past 2 months in the springtime, this Taurus and Gemini season has been a little bit difficult, or has been bringing up a lot of underlying things from the subconscious, underlying energies from the past, and you've been closing these chapters. Whatever it may be, as these chapters close, depending on how you close them, we have Fehu that has fallen on its side. So depending on how you react or how you respond to these energies, if you release this cycle in peace, like we saw in the vision, if you pass your hand over the lily, allow your fingertips to brush over the softness of the petals, the satin of life. If you let your fingertips pass over it, feel the softness, allow the grief of its passing, but also see its beauty. I see this Fehu bringing great abundance, great prosperity, and great joy to your life in the coming week, especially as we enter into a new phase with the close of this cycle on next Thursday, June 10th, with the eclipse. Otherwise, if we take it a little bit more on the difficult side and we're a little bit more resistant to letting go, I do see Fehu becoming overburdened, falling into the Merkstaff position. And that overburden is, as we hang on tighter, the universe will ask us to keep letting go. So it becomes a little bit painful because that energy is leaving our fingertips and we're trying to hold on, right? We're trying to hold on to the flower as it's being pulled from us and as we're walking away from it. And so if you're grabbing onto the flower while you're walking away, you're gonna rip it. You're gonna hurt it. You're gonna hurt that process. It's gonna become a little bit more difficult. So that's something to keep in mind. And this is what I see for the coming week ahead. A very powerful week for many of us. So do be gentle with yourself in this process. Allow yourself the time to rest, to drink water, to give yourself the time and space to process whatever may come up as the runes are suggesting. Okay? So thank you guys for joining me this week on River and Rune. I do appreciate it. I'm going to wrap up the reading here. Please follow me on Instagram at River and Rune. You can also find my Spotify, Freya's Gold. That's my new podcast on Spotify. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe on the bottom. And it really is a nice way to support if you do feel called to do so. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week on River and Rune. Bye everyone.